Before we dive into the ingenious survival strategies civilians used during World War II, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the Iron Age Instincts community. If you're fascinated by history and practical survival techniques, this guide is built for you. What you're about to read isn't fluff. It's real strategies used under extreme conditions that you can study, adapt, and even apply today. Let's uncover how ordinary people turn their backyards, basements, and hidden plots into lifelines. They turned every inch of land into a food source, even on tiny plots. During World War II, rationing was harsh, and fresh produce was scarce. Civilians learned to maximize even the smallest pieces of land by planting densely and rotating crops to keep soil fertile. Families would often grow root vegetables like potatoes, carrots and beets in layered rows to make the most of limited space. One notable example comes from London, where even narrow alleyways were transformed into victory gardens. You can adapt this method by using raised beds or vertical gardening techniques at home. Start with a few square feet, layering plants with complementary growth cycles, and rotate them seasonally to maintain soil health. This wasn't just about survival. It was about efficiency and smart planning, turning any plot into a near-permanent food source. They preserved everything they could so nothing went to waste. Civilians during the war became masters of preservation. If something grew in the garden, it had to last. Techniques like pickling, fermenting and canning weren't hobbies. They were lifelines. Housewives and even children learned how to pack cucumbers, cabbage and fruits in jars that could last months. One famous method involved submerging jars in sand or cool cellar floors to maintain a consistent temperature, extending shelf life. Practically speaking, anyone today can replicate this by storing seasonal harvests in airtight jars in a cool, dark environment. Learning to ferment vegetables or even store root crops in sand or sawdust is a skill that reduces waste, provides nutrition year-round, and connects you to wartime ingenuity. They found hidden or unconventional sources of nutrition. Not every food source came from the garden, you know. Civilians got creative, turning overlooked or unconventional items into critical nutrition. Nettles, dandelions, and even acorns were processed into edible forms. One striking example comes from rural France, where families boiled acorns to remove tannins, then ground them into flour for bread. You can explore this knowledge today by foraging edible wild plants responsibly, focusing on high-nutrient options like wild greens or nuts. The key lesson here is resourcefulness, understanding your local ecosystem and knowing which plants or roots can sustain you in scarcity. For historians and modern preppers alike, these lessons highlight the importance of thinking beyond conventional grocery aisles. They integrated livestock and small animals into household food systems. Even when meat was rationed, civilians found ways to keep small livestock, such as rabbits, chickens or pigeons, within their homes or backyards. These animals provided protein and eggs, and their waste was used to fertilize gardens. In Britain, backyard rabbit hutches became essential for survival. Practically, this teaches us that sustainable small-scale animal husbandry can complement any food system. Starting with just a few chickens for eggs or a rabbit for meat teaches lessons about responsible care, feeding cycles, and integrating animal waste into plant growth. An elegant, closed-loop system perfected under pressure during wartime. They relied on communal sharing and bartering to stretch resources. Finally, civilians understood the power of community. Victory gardens weren't just individual plots, they were networks. Neighbours shared surplus crops, traded eggs for vegetables, and helped each other preserve foods. In Warsaw, residents often pooled resources, creating cooperative storage and shared cooking strategies. Applying this today, even in a non-wartime setting, could mean starting a local garden co-op or trading preserved goods with friends and neighbours. The principle is timeless. Social networks amplify survival. Knowledge and resources spread faster when shared, reducing vulnerability and increasing collective food security. Each of these strategies was born out of necessity, but they offer timeless lessons for anyone interested in history or practical survivalism. From small-space gardening and clever preservation to wild food foraging and cooperative living, WWII civilians mastered a system that ensured year-round sustenance under some of the harshest conditions imaginable. Implementing even one or two of these techniques today can make you more self-reliant and deepen your understanding of historical resilience. If you enjoyed this exploration into 5 genius WWII tricks that kept civilians fed year-round, hit that subscribe button now and share this video with fellow history buffs and survival enthusiasts. The lessons of the past are only valuable if they're preserved and applied. Join the Iron Age Instincts community and never miss a dive into history's most ingenious survival hacks.